Hi, thank you very much for joining me. This is a lot of fun for me. I get to share with you about one of my all-time favorite albums, Sturgill Simpson's Metamodern Sounds in Country Music. This album was released in 2014. I did not listen to it until 2020. That's because I rarely listen to country music, but a friend of mine tipped me off to it. And it's been one of my favorite albums to run to ever since. You definitely don't need to be a fan of country music to love Metamodern Sounds. I mentioned running to it. I am an avid runner. I run to achieve flow states. And when I run, I listen to music. So I listen to a lot of music. And my favorite music is the music that helps me trip out when I'm running, that helps me get into a flow state. And there is no doubt that Sturgill Simpson checks all the boxes for me here. And quite honestly, at a genius level. I never get tired of running to this album. Now, of course, part of the credit has to go to Sturgill's former ace guitar player, Lars Jometz. Jometz is no longer playing with Sturgill, and unfortunately, I never got to see them perform live together. But I have seen Jometz play with Drivin' and Cryin', and he blows the doors off of a place. He absolutely shreds on guitar, and you are going to hear that on this album. Met's guitar heroics form a very powerful combination with Sturgill on Metamodern Sounds. Now, as far as Sturgill, Sturgill is known for a lot of things, particularly his voice. His voice is a powerfully emotive instrument. It has a huskiness and a world weariness that has gotten him comparisons to Waylon Jennings. Definitely, it is showcased in peak form here. I would say Sturgill Simpson's voice can make words mean almost anything he wants them to, depending on how he sings them. Now, like Waylon Jennings, Sturgill Simpson has been referred to as an outlaw country artist. Uh, I think Metamodern Sounds definitely is the album that got him that reputation. It's definitely a very unusual country album. It's got a lot of rock and roll. It's actually got a lot of psychedelia as well. The lyrics of some of the songs are about a topic that you don't hear discussed much in country music, psychedelic drugs. That's throughout the album. Now, as far as acclaim, his next album, A Sailor's Guide to Earth, is the one that won Sturgill a Grammy. A Sailor's Guide to Earth is a great album in its own right. I just think that Metamodern Sounds is a masterpiece. The album kicks off with a bang with a song called Turtles All the Way Down. I can't imagine there's a wilder country song than this one. In fact, I think the subject matter of this song is part of what got Sturgill branded as an outlaw country artist because this song is about psychedelic drugs. Sturgill plays it straight musically, but he sings about drugs. And this song, it's got some of the most meaningful lyrics on the record, as far as I'm concerned. I'll give you an example. Sturgill says, marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, DMT. They all changed the way I see, but love's the only thing that ever saved my life. And hearing him sing that, it's very evocative. It's really a cool song. Turtles All the Way Down gets followed by what I would consider this album's most straightforward outlaw country song. It's called Life of Sin. It's a burly honky tonk swing that's propelled by Jomet's guitar heroics. After Life of Sin comes my favorite Sturgill song, a song called Living the Dream. Now, Living the Dream is stuffed full of more ace six string gunslinging by Jometz. Sturgill also unleashes some incredibly powerful lyrics. In fact, my favorite thing that he says on the whole album is in this song. He says, I don't have to do a goddamn thing but sit around and wait to die. The way that he sings it is so life affirming. Here's what I mean by that. Every time I listen to Living the Dream on a run, I always think, you are so right, Sturgill. I don't have to do any of this stuff. I don't have to do any of the things I do in my life. I choose to do the things in my life. That is so affirming. That means that everything that I'm doing is about courage. It's about stepping up. It's about engaging in life. And I don't have to do a goddamn thing. I choose to do all the things I do in my life. And I'm also choosing to give my best at it. That amazing song is followed by the song Voices, which I would call an acquiescence to the seemingly immovable status quo. Sturgill sings it with a resigned sadness. I think he's addressing climate change in this song. After Voices, we get this rollicking, kind of sleazy double entendre song called Long White Line. It's a great song. It's about a lonely truck driver who's riding the line until it ends. And the line he's riding, the long white line, for me, there's two of them. One is the white line of the highway while he's making his run, and the other one is the white line of crystal meth that he's doing to stay awake during it. Long White Line features some of Jomet's best guitar work. And the coolest thing about this song is at the end of it, we get this sneak peek at the psychedelia that's to come. It's a really unexpected way to end this pretty straightforward song. It takes it in a whole new direction. And we find out later on, it's foreshadowing the full on psychedelic freakouts to come, the awesome psychedelic freakouts. Now, while the song Living the Dream is my favorite, the next song on this record is, I think, the most amazing. Um, it is The Promise, and it is Sturgill Simpson's cover of a hit from 1988 by the group When in Rome. I was 20 years old in 1988. I remember that song. I think the song still holds up. I think it's an awesome song, as long as you're not bothered too much by the almost quintessential 1980s production. Now, Sturgill completely reimagines the song. He sings the same words, but he sings it as a man desperate to express his love, to be in love with his chosen one, but who knows that deep down, the odds are not in his favor based on his own shortcomings. I've never heard a love song quite like this one, and it's certainly a standout on Metamodern Sounds. A Little Light, the next song, is a traditional gospel song. It's played in a, I will call a rockabilly country style. It's played with sincerity, and we get to hear Sturgill and company shine in what I would call a standard genre format, which is an interesting juxtaposition with the next song, Just Let Go, because this is the song where Sturgill really lets go of standard genre formats. He gets completely cosmic. Just Let Go is about a psychedelic trip. It's about Sturgill losing his self and then finding his self. It's the first full-bodied psychedelia on the album. It's a beautiful song. And the message of self-discovery is, for me, always inspiring. It is a compelling endorsement of inner journeys, of taking that inner journey. And of course, that's exactly what I'm doing when I'm running and when I'm in a flow state. Then Just Let Go launches us straight into this song called It Ain't All Flowers, another one of the absolute standouts on this amazing album. It Ain't All Flowers is my wife Sean's favorite song. I don't blame her at all. This is a 6.5 minute psychedelic odyssey. It's an intense song. When I'm listening to it on a run, I usually think something like, oh, this is the song Sturgill wrote after he tripped during Just Let Go. It's got intense lyrics, intense music, and Sturgill really belts the lyrics. He even screams a couple times, and his voice remains as richly emotive as anywhere else on the record. Now, the album ends by bringing us back to earth gently with the final song, Pan Bowl. Pan Bowl is a very country song. It's a straightforward and earnest, times gone by song. And I'm always moved by Sturgill's gentle, loving descriptions of his youth and his family growing up. There is not a song on this album that I haven't lost myself to. I have tripped out on all of them. They are that powerful. This album is that good. They've all helped me spend time in flow states and get a lot out of my time there. Metamodern Sounds and country music's power to help me do that has never diminished over time, despite hours and hours of listening. And for that reason, I still return to it again and again. It's never let me down. And it's an album I highly recommend to you.